जय कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी. 2 lines together. जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी. जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी. जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा. यशोदानन्दना ब्रजजनरञ्जना यमुनातीरा वनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी. यशोदानन्दना ब्रजजनरञ्जना यमुनातीरा चारी जय कुंज बिहारी. यशोदानन्दना ब्रजजनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी. यशोदानन्दना ब्रजजनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी. जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी. राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी. युगधर्म श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. सामवेद गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. गौर प्रेमानंदे. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतेरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter number 16, Jaya and Vijay cursed by the sages. Text number 30. So I will read myself because 31 is on the board. Etat puraiva nirdiṣṭaṁ ramayā kruddhayā yadā purāpavāritā dvāri viśantī mayi upārate. Translation: this departure from Vaikuṇṭha was foretold by Lakṣmī, the goddess of fortune. She was very angry because when she left my abode and then returned, you stopped her at the gate while I was sleeping. Text number 31. Please repeat after me. Mayy saṁrambha-yogena nistīrya brahma-helanam pratyeṣyataṁ nikāśaṁ me kālenālpīyasā punaḥ mayy saṁrambha-yogena nistīrya brahma-helanam pratyeṣyataṁ nikāśaṁ me kālenālpīyasā punaḥ. nistīrya brahma-helanam pratyeṣyataṁ nikāśaṁ me kālenālpīyasā punaḥ. Any Matajis? nistīrya brahma-helanam pratyeṣyataṁ nikāśaṁ me kālenālpīyasā punaḥ. Word to word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mayi, unto me, saṁrambha-yogena, by practice of mystic yoga, in anger, nistīrya, being liberated from, brahma-helanam, the result of disobedience to the brahmanas, pratyeṣyataṁ, will come back, nikāśaṁ, near, me, kālena, in due course of time, alpīyasā, very short, punaḥ, again. Translation: the Lord assured the two Vaikuṇṭha inhabitants, Jaya and Vijay, that by practicing the mystic yoga system in anger, you will be cleansed of the sin of disobeying the brahmanas and within a very short time return to me. Purport: the Supreme Personality Godhead advised the two doorkeepers, Jaya and Vijay, that by dint of bhakti yoga in anger, they would be delivered from the curses of the brahmanas. Srila Madhva Muni remarks in this connection that by practicing bhakti yoga, one can become free from all sinful reactions. Even a Brahma shapa or curse by a Brahmana, which cannot be overcome by any other means, can be overcome by Bhakti Yoga. One can practice Bhakti Yoga in many rasas. There are 12 rasas, 5 primary and 7 secondary. The 5 primary rasas constitute direct Bhakti Yoga, but although the 7 secondary rasas are indirect, they are also counted within Bhakti Yoga if they are used in the service of the Lord. In other words, Bhakti Yoga is all inclusive. If one somehow or other becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes engaged in Bhakti Yoga as described in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.29.15, Kamam Krodham Bhayam. The gopis were attracted to Krishna by Bhakti Yoga in a relationship of lusty desire, Kama. Similarly, Kamsa was attached to Bhakti Yoga by dint of fear of his death. Thus, Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that even becoming an enemy of the Lord and always thinking of Him can deliver one very quickly. It is said, Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva Ashurastad Vipanyaha. Devotees of Lord Vishnu are called demigods, whereas non-devotees are called asuras. But Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that both demigods and asuras can derive its benefit if they always think of the personality of Godhead. The basic principle of Bhakti Yoga is to think of the Supreme Lord always. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 18.65, Man mana bhava mad bhaktaha. Always think of me. It doesn't matter which way one thinks. The very thought of the personality of Godhead is a basic principle of Bhakti Yoga. In the material planets, there are different grades of sinful activities, of which disrespecting a Brahmana or a Vaishnava is the most sinful. Here it is clearly stated that one can overcome even that grave sin simply by thinking of Vishnu, not even favorably, but in anger. Thus, even if those who are not devotees always think of Vishnu, they become free from all sinful activities. Krishna consciousness is the highest form of thought. Lord Vishnu is thought of in this age by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. From the statements of Bhagavatam, it appears that if one thinks of Krishna even as an enemy, that particular qualification, thinking of Vishnu or Krishna, cleanses one of all sins. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Darate Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagara Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatade Shatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurasve Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Takanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vacha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangudangayate giri. Yat kripaha tamaham mande shikaram dinatarinam. So I feel very unqualified to sit here and speak, but as a service for glorification of Lord and purification of my heart, I'll try to speak on this two verses here, number 30 and 31. It's a very beautiful chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein we can see that Lord is personally coming and taking the responsibility of the mistake of Jay and Vijay, and actually personally asking forgiveness from the Kumaras, and also the Lord is actually telling what will happen to them, and also assuring them that they need not worry. Lord is wonderfully balancing, correcting them for the mistake, and at the same time assuring them how they will come back and serve Him. They will continue to serve Him in that position. So we see here that in this 30th verse, that Lord is saying that this is already told by Mother Lakṣmī, that you will be leaving Vaikuṇṭha, because not only that they offended Kumaras, but in the past they also stopped Mother Lakṣmī once. It's mentioned in that translation that how when once Lord was taking rest, and that time Mother Lakṣmī came and they stopped. So that time she also became angry. So she also predicted that. So one lesson from this chapter, that how we should be very careful not to offend Vaishnavas, from the 30th verse, because knowingly or unknowingly, even if you are a close associate of Lord, still if you offend Vaishnavas, still you will get some reaction. You have to suffer for it. So they have to leave Vaikuṇṭha for it. So we see in various scriptures how great personalities, although they are very great in one sense or other, but because of offenses, they got various reactions. So we hear about Mother Sachi, who is the mother of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sachi Sutta. We always sing. But we see that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was giving Krishna Prem to everyone, he said he is not ready to give to her own mother. So everybody was shocked that how come it is like that. So he said because of her offense to Advaita Acharya, he is not ready to give. And later we see that when Advaita comes to know and remembers the glories of Mother Sachi, he becomes unconscious and she takes the dust of him and she is forgiven. And we hear about Srila Rupa Goswami also. He was absorbed in pastimes of the Lord in the spiritual world, completely off from this material world. But then when one Vaishnava who was limping and walking, so he was absorbed in that pastime and he was laughing, remembering those pastimes. So this Vaishnava misunderstood that this Rupa Goswami is laughing seeing me. So the moment that Vaishnava got offended, immediately he lost his meditation. So he came back to his consciousness, but he was not able to realize why. Because that Vaishnava left by that time. So that means even unknowingly if you offend Vaishnava, your meditation may break. Already in our chanting so many breaks. Right? We see in so many ways there are breaks because we are doing offenses. But even if you are, lesson for us, Lord is arranging through these pure devotees that even if you are so exalted, you should be careful not to offend even unknowingly. That's why every day we offer obeisances, vancha kalpatarubhyasya. Because sometimes we knowingly may offend and we ask forgiveness from those Vaishnavas. We are supposed to ask. But sometimes we may not know also. Because sometimes just suppose somebody is coming and we are in our own world and we didn't even say Hare Krishna or smile. Because one offense is mentioned, that if you don't smile at Vaishnavas, that is also offense. Oh, my Lord. So it's a tough task, somebody may think, but the fact is basically you need to respect the presence of other Vaishnava, right? Acknowledge their presence. But sometimes, we may be in our own world. So that's why when we offer vancha kalpatarubhyasya, we actually should seek forgiveness from all the Vaishnavas. Knowingly, unknowingly, we might have committed offenses, and also we should be grateful because they all arrange so many things because of which we are able to render devotional service. Similarly, we see about Romharsuta, when Balramji came there and he was sitting on Vyasasan and he was not respecting Balramji. So Lord Balram became very angry. He said, although you are a direct disciple of Vyasadev and although you are so learned in the scriptures, still you are not developed this most essential quality of humility. And I have come to remove this adharmic things. So he takes that blade of grass and finishes him. So he is supposed to be like a blade of grass. So Lord may be indicating that you are supposed to be like this. He killed him with that only, right? He is supposed to be very humble. But on the contrary, we see his son, Sutta Goswami. He is praised by the Shaunakadi rishis for being very submissive, right? And that's why he is empowered by his gurus. So like this we can see even Indra, he was being worshipped in the heavenly planets, and the Apsaras were dancing and many were glorifying. So that time this his guru Brahaspati comes there, and that is the time Indra neglects him for few moments, it is mentioned. And then he realizes his mistake and he wants to go and ask forgiveness. But by that time Brahaspati leaves that place. And we know that Indra loses everything because of that. He loses all his power. So like this we can see many examples. Durvasa Muni. So all this, even those, these are all very great exalted personalities, but because of either inattentiveness or pride or misunderstanding, so they did this. We hear about Rupa Kaviraj. He was, it's mentioned he was on the platform of Bhava, and we know that when he was giving lecture, that Krishna Priya Thakurani, she was chanting the holy names continuously, and he became little angry. He said, you stop that. But she said, I can't stop. This is naturally, she was so much attached to chanting. So he actually criticizes her. And we hear that because of that offense, so he becomes a ghost because of that offense. So in all these cases we can see that either one is proud or one is disrespectful. So I seek the blessings of His Grace. Adeshambru. I should not be like Romharsuta. Hare Krishna. So this pride is one of the main cause for offenses. So we see that when there is false pride, one becomes ignorant, doesn't respect others. So actually Queen Kunti also mentions Janmaishwarya Shuta Shribi Edamadamada Puman Naiva Harti Abidatum Vai Tvam Makinchana Gocharam. If somebody has high birth, education, wealth, beauty, so and he becomes attached to that and he thinks they are his own. So he is absorbed in the consciousness of I and mine. So he cannot feelingly utter the holy names of the Lord. So we see, like Indra, if you take the case of Indra offending Brihaspati. So actually he was getting so many praises and respect. So in that he accepted them, and he was actually enjoying those and that particular respect. So we hear about even Pururava. He was glorified in the heavenly planets, and when the Urvasi actually proposed, he also accepts. So that enjoying mentality comes in, creeps in. So the problem is when we get all this, if we start thinking that it is mine, then we become attached and we become proud. So we should understand that these are all given by Krishna and Guru, and ultimately they are meant to be engaged in Krishna's service. And one should never accept glorification. So when we also sing this Prema Dvani prayers every day, right? All glories, all glories, all glories, no? We keep hearing. So sometimes it becomes very ritualistic. We may not be very conscious. So I was hearing that when we say all glories, that means 100% glories to Vaishnava's Lord and nothing for oneself. So somebody may say that why not 1% or at least 0.1, at least 1. No, because Maya is very powerful. It enters like needle, comes out like a plow. So one should be very, very careful not to accept glorification which comes. So here we also see that Jai Vijay were rendering this very important service as doorkeepers in Vaikuṇṭha. So we can see in our ISKCON scenario also, many times such services are very delicate to handle. Like somebody is taking care of prasadam coupons, standing outside the prasadam hall. So, or sometimes different events, it's only allowed for some devotees, particular devotees. So it's very, very challenging. Or even in prasadam serving also sometimes there are limited items. So one should be very careful, in the sense one has to be strict, but at the same time one also has to be considerate. Like prasadam, many times there may be coupon system, so that we know how many people to cook, how many devotees to cook, how much to serve. But sometimes it happens that there may be some new people or even devotees not aware of the whole system and coming. So first of all, how we deal with them also is important. If suppose sometimes somebody is harsh, no, don't you see? No, this is the system here. No, go away, or no, very harshly speaking, not respecting them. So, and also one can be considerate, in the sense we can explain them what is the system, and we can tell that most of the times we see that actually prasadam remains. So we can tell, can you please wait for some time, and once all these Vaishnavas are served, we'll definitely try to serve you also. Or otherwise, at least we can give them other options in the temple where they can be given prasadam. So like that, devotees have to be very, very cautious in the terms of dealing with devotees. Sometimes even newcomers to Krishna consciousness, sometimes we may think that anyway they are not devotees, so we can deal in whatever way. But we see that when people speak very harshly or don't deal properly, they'll remember for long, long time. And that could be the reason why they may not come to Krishna consciousness at all. So one should be very careful. That is one lesson we can see. And also, sometimes, devotees may be kept in certain positions wherein, like somebody may be serving in some committee, like initiation committee or whatever, different positions. So, one can be strict, but at the same time, be considerate according to time, place, circumstances. So, then it doesn't lead to offenses. People also understand that how one has to be strict, but they also see whether they are considerate or not, and also dealing very humbly or not. Because many times when we don't deal properly, humbly, then people get hurt. So one should be careful. So there is a story about means how one should not only follow the rules but also understand the mood of the rules. So one security guard was told in a shop that you make sure that whoever customers come, you tell them to keep their shoes at the door. So then whenever customers were coming, he was telling, please keep your shoes here. Then you enter the shop. So one day one customer actually keeps his shoes in the car and he comes. So he says, no, where are your shoes? Says, it is in the car. No, you should keep it here only. Keep it here only. Hey, but I thought it is safe there. No, my owner told should keep it here only. So in the sense, one is not understanding the mood of the rules. So definitely in every different situations, when we are given certain service, we are supposed to follow certain rules, regulations given by our superiors. That is true. But then also, what is the mood in which we are supposed to follow that rules or apply that rules on others? That is also very, very important to understand. Because if we are, as I said, just strict without being considerate, then it may actually become offensive. And being considerate also doesn't mean that we have to be loose. Means according to time, place, circumstances, we have to see. So there are several reasons why somebody may offend a Vaishnava. So one is by seeing their social background, as in Nectar of Instruction Rupa Goswami mentions, by seeing the external features, one's body or bad complexion, diseases. So there is one pastime of His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. In his initial days when he joined ISKCON, so some devotees were commenting on him. So he went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, see, your disciples are commenting on me. So Prabhupada said a very profound statement. He said, they are in bodily conception and they are commenting. So if you are getting affected, then you are also in bodily conception. So Maharaj said that it made a very deep impact in his consciousness, that how he has to come out of that bodily conception. Then unintentional sin. Sometimes because of one's past samskaras, weakness of heart, a devotee may commit some mistake because he may be just practicing newly. But we should be broad-minded, understanding that he is under the shower of Krishna consciousness. So slowly but gradually he will get purified. And last traces of one's previous sins. So sometimes a devotee who is too much attached to eating, so now after coming to Krishna consciousness, he may be eating a lot of prasadam. So one should not think, see this fellow, how he eats like mountain, he's so much, he's eating so much prasadam. And sinful activities prior to surrendering to Lord Krishna. So this story of naked pencho, you might have heard, how one still maintains the previous conceptions. So this naked pencho story tells that how this pencho in childhood was running around naked without wearing clothes. So his neighbors, later when he grew up, he becomes a magistrate, big position. But the neighbors still say, oh, that naked prince, oh, we know him. He just was roaming here and there naked. So they were still criticizing. So similarly, sometimes if we know the past of someone, hey, we know him, what is his past, we know in college days what he was doing, and now he is speaking big things. So like that. So one should be very careful. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that what are the reasons for this, why one commits offenses? He says, Stri Sangi, one who is illicitly connected to women or mixing with men who are attached to women. And those because of association with Krishna Bhaktas, Mayavadis, Satis, sense gratifiers, Sahajiyas like this. So one should be very careful. So one may commit offenses on 3 levels: body, mind and words. Right? So in Kali Yuga, obviously on the level of mind it is forgiven, but still one should be very careful, because it starts with mind and it goes to words and actions. So we hear about this needle and the sieve. So Srila Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj mentions that the sieve itself has so many holes, but it is commenting on needle. Hey, you have one hole. Just like we say, if you point one finger towards others, 3 fingers are pointing towards you. So many times we start finding faults in others, forgetting that we ourselves have ocean of faults. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentions that actually we may be doing this fault finding because of enviousness of other Vaishnavas. So when one sees that the other Vaishnavas are progressing, advancing, so one may become envious of their position or the glorification they are getting. So one may start thinking negatively, and so to pull that person down, one may be actually finding faults with those people. So one should be very careful not to do this. So the rectification given is repentance and service to the Vaishnavas. So one should very sincerely repent for one's mistakes. Like King Parikshit, we hear in Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada mentions that repentance arises in the heart of a good soul. So when he is sincerely repenting, and not only repenting but rectifying by going and asking forgiveness from the Vaishnava. And serving Vaishnavas, like Jagai and Madai, we hear that after delivered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were serving at the Madai Ghat. They personally served all the Vaishnavas, and they would even say that, no, previously we hurt you, please take this rock and beat us. And it is said that some people actually beat them also. Still they were, accepting. It's not that, okay, we'll just say like that and people will think we are humble. Some people actually did that, but still they were tolerant and accepting. They felt that we actually deserve that. And we hear about Devanand Pandit also, that he offends Srivas, and later he serves Vakreshwar Pandit, and because of his change in his attitude, he is forgiven. So like this, if we can change our attitude, change our vision, sometimes from material vision to spiritual vision, so we can definitely overcome this offensive mentality. So in the second verse, here it is mentioned that how devotional service, even performed in anger or lust or in fear, how it can purify. So Prabhupada is quoting this 10.29.15, very interesting verse here, that persons who are constantly directly engaged in this, who constantly direct their lust, anger, fear, protective affection, feelings of impersonal oneness or friendship towards Lord Hari, are sure to become absorbed in thought of him. So here in this particular purport, so Prabhupada is quoting Madhvacharya. Here it is being mentioned from Skanda Puran, that he mentions that the gopis, they are actually liberated souls beyond the pale of material illusion. So he is saying, Bhakta hi nitya kamitvam natu muktim vina bhavet atak kamitaya vapi muktir bhakti matam haro. He is saying eternal conjugal attraction to Krishna expressed in pure devotional service cannot develop in one who is not already liberated. Thus those who are devoted to Lord Hari, even in conjugal attraction, are already liberated. So means the gopis is mentioning that they are actually liberated. They are not having that material tinge of lust. But we hear about Kubja, Srimad Bhagavatam. She was actually having the tinge of lust. But because she wanted to satisfy the senses of Lord Krishna, so it is mentioned because of that she actually got purified by Lord Krishna. Then Madhvacharya is quoting another verse from Pradma Puran, saying that one cannot be liberated simply by lusting after Lord Krishna. Somebody may think, oh, okay, if I become lusty for Krishna, I will get purified. So he is saying, no. Sneha bhakta sada deva kamit senar napsara striyaha kaschit kaschin nakamena bhaktya kevala eva tu. So he is saying from Padma Puran, the demigods are always affectionately devoted to the Lord. The young ladies of heaven, called Apsaras, have lusty feelings towards him. Although some of them have pure devotion for him, untainted by material lust, only these later Apsaras, who don't have that lust, are ready for liberation. Because without bona fide devotional service, one cannot possibly achieve liberation. So they didn't engage in the proper devotional service. So, yeah. So from this we can see that how means somebody has just material lust, okay, if he is not properly engaged in devotional service, he may not get purified. So here it is mentioned about the Kumaras, that how they will be engaged in the bhakti yoga of anger, and because of that they will be cleansed of all the sins of killing disobeying the Brahmanas. So the demons generally, like Kamsa or Shishupal, they were envious or angry of Lord Krishna. So because of that they definitely got liberation, but not the liberation of the other four liberations. They merged in the Brahman effulgence. Right? They didn't got the Salokya, Samipya, these other four liberations. So here it is mentioned that they were engaged in devotional service in anger, which is actually unfavorable. So as Rupa Goswami mentions, Anukulena Krishnanushilanam, it should be favorable. So then it is most pleasing to Krishna. So we see that even Ajamil, when he chanted the names of Lord Narayan, so in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, 2nd chapter, 14th verse, this verse comes, Sanketyam parihasyam va stobam helanam eva Vaikuṇṭha nama grahanam asheshaga haram vedu. That even if one chants the holy name of Lord Vishnu indirectly, Sanketyam, to indicate something else. So we see that he was actually indicating his son. It's not actually chanting the names of Lord Vishnu. So definitely he got purified. So, and definitely this Vishnu Dutas came to help him. But then we see that he only got purified of the sinful reactions, but he didn't go to Vaikuṇṭha. So again we see that for next 12 years he had to perform intense devotional service. So that means that when we these various people who may be rendering devotional service indirectly by becoming angry or indirectly chanting the holy names, so they are also in one sense engaging in devotional service but unfavorably, right? So they may get purified of these sinful activities, but they don't get Krishna Prem. So for that they need to actually endeavor. So, but in some special cases we see, like Putana, so she was actually envious of Krishna, but then when she came to see Krishna first time, she was actually attracted to Krishna, seeing his beautiful form, Bal Gopal, and her motherly affection for Krishna awakened, and she also rendered the service of giving milk to Krishna. So Krishna saw that tiny little service attitude in her. So in this special case, she was given liberation of a maid servant in the spiritual world. And we also hear about Aghasur. Aghasur also we hear that he was also very envious of Krishna. But because Aghasur became a playground for the cowherd boys, and also Krishna entered Aghasur. So in the purport, in that particular verse, it's mentioned that great yogis, they actually try to meditate on the form of the Lord in their hearts. But in the case of Aghasur, Lord personally entered his body and purified Aghasur. So that was the fortune of Aghasur, and he also rendered some service. So that's why when Aghasur died, his soul merged in the body of Krishna. So that's a special type of liberation mentioned. So in these two cases, it is rare, but in general, the demons, they don't achieve Krishna Prem. They may get relieved of all the sinful reactions. So if somebody negatively, means unfavorably renders devotional service, he is getting so much freed from sinful reactions. So the lesson is that if we favorably render devotional service, then how much more we will get benefited. So as we hear this verse, akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena ejeta purusha param. So we may have material desires currently, but still if we render intense devotional service, so then our heart will get purified of all this material desires. So we need not worry that, okay, I may not be fully rendering favorable devotional service currently. It may be like sweet rice mixed with sand particles, little, which is filled with material desires. But gradually when we when we sincerely try to serve, so Prabhupada says, give this analogy, like iron rod should continuously be kept in fire. So then even the iron rod becomes fiery, right? But if you take iron rod, keep sometime in fire, sometimes in water, and again in fire, then it's not much useful, right? So that's why savai pumsham paro dharmo ito bhaktir adokshajay ahaituki apratihata eyatma suprasidati. So these 2 points of ahaituki and apratihata, these are very important. Unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service. We should always check what is my motive, whether it is is there any material motive in rendering this service, and uninterrupted devotional service, right? Because in spiritual world we are supposed to render uninterrupted devotional service. It's not that, okay, I'll serve for some time and then I will take some time off, I'll go around Vaikuṇṭha or Golok, not like that. So uninterrupted devotional service, it should be continuous. So until we actually reach that platform of unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service, it's not completely pleasing to Krishna. So we should understand that by Guru and Krishna's mercy, we are given this opportunity to render devotional service, although we are not qualified. Like Prabhupada was asked by some of his disciples that what is our qualification that we are able to do this devotional service. Prabhupada said, you had no qualification. I gave you all the qualification. And that is a fact. Otherwise, how can conditioned souls, especially like me, get the opportunity to render this devotional service, which is so exalted. We sometimes don't realize what we are getting many times. So we take it very lightly. But we should understand that this is our greatest fortune which we have ever got in our lives. So in essence today, from the first verse, we discussed about how Mother Lakṣmī also got offended by Jai and Vijay. So that was another offense in the past. So we discussed about various reasons why one may commit offenses, and we discussed some examples from scriptures and some solutions for it. And the second verse talks about how devotional service, even in the other secondary rasas like bhaya, krodha, that also can purify one of the sinful reactions, but actually it will not give us prema, Krishna prema. So one has to endeavor sincerely, anukulena Krishna anushritanam, one should render favorable devotional service. So, even though we may be having this material desires, we should sincerely, intensely try to practice devotional service so that we can get purified. So this is what I thought of sharing today. So please forgive me if I spoke something wrong, knowingly, unknowingly. Hare Krishna. Any corrections, comments? Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned a very important point about not committing offenses to devotees. You should avoid it. What happens in our day-to-day dealings with Vaishnavas and in trying to perform our services, there may be some case like some mixed devotees. We have all different kinds of mixtures. You know, we have some personal desires, and some may be pure, some are with mixed motives. They are practicing devotional service. So in our service, someone who is with this mixed motive, he is also like, suppose some management position, he wants to earn money or something, wants to control something or the other. When we perform our service and it clashes with their motive, and then the chance of committing offense comes, then we may commit offense, or they may commit offense, so how do we deal in such situation? Should we let them have their motive also, like it's troubling others, their personal motive may trouble other devotees, because they want to achieve their motive, their desire, and it may trouble other devotees, and while performing our service, we may have to, pinch, or they may take it as offense. So in such a case, what we do, or what should, suppose I am the one with the motive, what should I do, so that I don't I don't offend others, and I may, suppose I am practicing with my personal motives, but I want to keep my motive, I want to achieve my motive, my personal desires, but I don't want to offend the Vaishnavas also. So how do we balance this?
So you are asking two questions. One, you are saying that if authorities have motive, and second, if I have motives. Yeah. So probably can answer. So regarding the authorities, if they have some motive, so first of all, we are in material world, we should understand. So we are here means already we are having some false motives. So once His Grace Gauranga Prabhu was telling, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakale Ashant. That word Siddhi Kami Siddhi also means perfection. So he was telling, If you expect perfection from authorities and systems, sakale ashant, you will always be disturbed, you will be frustrated, angry. Some people, because of expecting perfection, they actually even leave ISKCON. So one should understand, as I was telling the example, everybody is under the shower of Krishna consciousness. So slowly everybody gets purified. So if you want perfect authority, Gauranga Prabhu was telling once, it's only with Madhav, Radha Madhav. So everybody is happy with Radha Madhav because he will never correct or he is perfect. So we should not expect perfect authorities everywhere. So he was telling, instead of expecting perfection, expect purification for oneself. So Krishna arranges all this situation so that we get purified. So we have to be tolerant. But that doesn't mean that, okay, if that false motive is actually causing difficulty to you seriously and others also very seriously, like somebody is breaking 4x, then definitely we have to go to higher authorities. But it's little bit, he has a different opinion, we have different opinion, we feel that our goes well. So sometimes we have to give, because they are given that service, we have to respect that position. So we can always clarify. It's not that we should not clarify, but ultimately they are the decision makers, so let them. So in case if their idea goes wrong, then later they will only realize. So we have to be patient, right? Otherwise we may offend them, unnecessary quarrel. And in case the other question is, if we have motive, and when we realize that we have motive, then we have to change. Because if that is hurting devotees and it is not favorable, then we should try to change. But yeah, sometimes if it is a very strong urge, then we should reveal to our superiors that in this particular service I am again either becoming angry or behaving in a wrong way, please help me. So they may actually help us how to come out, or they may replace somebody else in that service. So in both cases we need patience. That's why utsahan, nishayat, dhairyat. All three are required. Only utsaha can lead to offenses, right? Hare Krishna. Maybe Prabhuji can add.
See, in the authorities there can be three motivations, possessive mentality, or controlling mentality, or enjoying mentality. For example, somebody is a mentee of one leader. That leader sometimes is afraid that my mentee should not leave me and go to somebody else. If the mentee is seen to be talking to another person, they will say, come here, what did you talk? What did that fellow say? So then the mentee should give the mentor the confidence that I am your man. See, although I may talk to others for some inspiration, but ultimately I am eternally grateful to you. You introduced me and you raised me, and I am yours. So when that confidence is given, then you can continue to have a nice relation with the mentor. This is possessive mentality. Controlling mentality. There was one Mataji who was in charge of one department. She used to give services, but she was a little strong-natured lady. She was like a military officer, controlling nature. So there was one Mataji working in that department. Once she was taunted by that leader. So she left the service and went away. Later on, that lady who went away asked her, because this lady is in charge, I don't want to do this service. So when this matter was brought to me, I told that Mataji, see, ultimately you are serving your Guru and Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. This lady happens to be your in charge. Be happy that she is at least awarding you service. She may angrily award you service, but service is service. But if you leave the service and go, who loses? We lose, not her. Then again she came back to service. She tolerated her controlling nature and understood that I am ultimately serving Guru, Krishna and Prabhupada. And she went on with her service. So even though authority may have controlling nature, we can know that at least Krishna has given that authority, adhikar, to give us seva. For us, which is important? Seva is important or ego is important? So we put aside our false ego and continue the service. Okay, let them have the enjoyment of controlling us for some time. my service is going on. Thirdly, enjoying mentality. Sometimes a superior is like an enjoying freak. He always thinks, I am the pivot of everything revolves around me, everyone should salute me, like Hiranyakashipu had that mentality. So in case authority is of that nature, we can just do our service, submit the service to authority and go on with our life, thinking in our mind that that person will be purified by his spiritual guardians. They will purify him. Like Indra was also such an enjoying freak at one time, and Krishna lifted Govardhan hill and purified him. So I am not the one appointed to purify him. He will be purified by his superior. By thinking like this, we can have a cool head and go on with our service. So these are three impurities with respect to authorities. And when we have these impurities in us, we may not be able to observe them ourselves, because our intelligence is below our false ego. So somebody who is above our false ego should point out to us. That's why if I were in your position, I would put myself in the safe custody of a mentor or a superior, and time to time report to them, be accountable to them and ask them, please detect or diagnose maladies in me and administer the right medicine of chastisement and purify me.
So we'll end, time is up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.